It is my pleasure to welcome you here to this in-gathering in solidarity with Palestine. Welcome you here to Wellington Avenue, United Church of Christ. We are honored to be the place where we are doing this in-gathering to remember and stand in solidarity with our sisters and brothers in Palestine. And we are remembering hospitality. And Wellington, this community, has been a place of hospitality in many ways over our century, and it is a pleasure for this hospitality to be offered this evening. I hope that each of us that is present here will be touched in some way by this in-gathering, and that we will leave this evening renewed in our commitment to be a part of the struggle for liberation, to be part of the struggle for a peace with justice, so that our sisters and brothers in Palestine might live in dignity. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Reverend Lauren McGrail, and I'm one of the coordinators of this evening. I was privileged to serve in Palestine and Israel in February of this year, from February to May 16th. And one of the things that struck me over and over again was the incredible way in which the Palestinian quality of samud, of steadfastness, showed itself in its incredible welcome to all of us who were accompaniers, but even in the midst of terrible times. And I want to tell you one short story that illuminates this. One of the missions of the Bethlehem team was to take care of the villages. And in the village of Anuman, which was outside of Bethlehem, between Bethlehem and Jerusalem, was this small village that is controlled by a checkpoint at the bottom in hopes that the 200 families at the top of the hill will eventually leave. Almost every home has a demolition order on it. Our team was offering accompaniment and presence, and now real intervention with one particular family whose home had been demolished in December. And so I was traveling up, this was in March, to tell the family that I was able to get in touch with the Israeli Committee Against Housing Demolition, that we were going to be able to rebuild their home. So I had this great news to bring. And as we got to the crest of the hill, all of a sudden I saw these soldiers and their telltale jeeps, and I saw a young man. I thought, oh no, we can't go to Siam and Riyadh's house now. We need to stop here. We need to be with this family. Now, my team didn't know quite what was going on, but I knew we could not leave until the soldiers left. And so I trusted this quality of hospitality in Palestinians. And I boldly went right up to the household of the waiting women who were looking anxiously at what I assumed was the family member of this young man. And I said, "Marhaba, assalamu alaikum, we're here for tea." And she looked at me and said, "Jai." And they went inside and they started to make tea. And I called my team over and I said, "We're going to sit now here on the patio in such a way that the soldiers know we are here. We are friends of this family, and we will not move until they leave. And don't stare at them. It's not a good pastoral presence, but just let them know we're here." And sure enough, in a few minutes, they did leave. And the young man came to us and he said, it had to be translated, he said, "Are you angels? You just showed up at this moment?" And I was remembering the story of Abraham and Sarah and the people, the strangers who came to the tent and were welcomed in. And sometimes we are the messengers, and sometimes we are the one blessed. And so tea was a prominent feature of that story, and tea will be a prominent feature of our ritual tonight. And I end with the very last day in Anuman, when I was saying goodbye to Siam, who invited me, once her house was built, to return to make tea and supper with her. All of a sudden, we're going back down the hill, and there is this young man, the same one, now with a tea tray coming out. He said, "Now it is my invitation." And so, tea, hospitality, is at the heart of all of our traditions. And it is part of the ways in which we do and sustain the justice work we do. So welcome tonight. And we have one quick announcement before we go forward.
Activism takes many forms. Lauren participated in one, and you can participate in one tonight. If you live in the 5th District, which is this district, congressional district, Mike Quigley is your congressman. We need to let Mike Quigley know we are gathering for Palestine tonight, and we want to know that some of his constituents are standing up for Palestinians. So if you don't know if you're in the 5th District, there's the man. Thank you.
Good evening. I know how to say good evening in 2 languages, in Arabic and English, and I was hoping that I'd get here early enough and let someone say good evening in Jewish, but I missed that opportunity. But good evening and Masiko Bilkir. We need more angels like Reverend Lauren. Thank you for that lovely story. I like to call myself a poet. I don't know if others call me a poet. But I saw this picture that I just put up back in June of 2009, and it just struck me. I went to sleep, and I woke up, and I thought about it, and every morning I would look at it, because I put it as the face of my phone, and I would just stare at it. And so I wrote a poem about it, and I'd like to share it all with you, if I can just quickly find it. It's right here. It's called Dear God, Allah, and Elohim. An infant in diapers lays wounded, maybe 1 or 2 years old, maybe dead. I do not know. His ruffled, curly black hair begins to tell his story. It streaks with sweat, a testimony to his struggle for life. The scars and bandages that cover his body explain the agony on his face. Exhaustion permeates his stature. His left hand must have been slumped as it is turned awkwardly. Both arms are bandaged as his right arm is elevated. 3 bandages of various lengths cover his torso, on his neck, near his heart, and by his upper right stomach area. His legs barely show, yet enough to know that his right leg is bandaged, maybe broken. His back is unseen. Only God, Allah, Elohim, knows. What scars lay under? What psychological scars lay with him? Where are his parents? Are they dead? Does he have a future? Will he have a childhood? Has his innocence been taken away? What did this boy do to warrant such misery? Is he a terrorist? Is he an occupier? Is this what they call collateral damage? child. I cry with burning heart. I cry for this is my son. I cry for this is my grandchild. I cry because he is my brother, an infant, so fragile, so tender. Maybe a Palestinian, maybe an Israeli. I do not know. An infant, so innocent, so sweet. Maybe a Christian, maybe a Jew, maybe a Muslim. I do not know. But does it really matter? Does it matter who he is? For he's a child so blameless, so caught up in the atrocities of his elders. Dear God, Allah, Elohim, why? Why must this be? Why this child? Why any child? Why anyone at all? Thank you.
Good evening, I am Lori Unwin. I'm a member of the Chicago Presbytery Middle East Task Force Steering Committee, a member at Lakeview Presbyterian Church, and the chair of the Middle East Task Force there as well. I have been to Israel-Palestine the first time in 2003, and again in 2005. This issue lives in me and with me, and will until there is justice and peace for all people there. Please join me in the gathering for confession and pardon where indicated in your program. To the nations of the world, as a citizen of the United States, we say, please forgive me and please forgive us. On behalf of my ancestors and the group conscience of all America, we deeply apologize for the wrongs so cruel that have been inflicted upon the peoples of the world. So many lives lost, yet still they haunt the psyche of all people of goodwill. We ask that the Spirit of God give us absolution. We as a nation have wronged. Now we as a nation make amends. How sorry we are for the suffering of your people. If we could rewrite history, we would. We cannot. But you, O God, can. May history begin again. May the spirit of the people now be reborn. For we embrace and honor the spirit of all your people everywhere. We pray tonight specifically for those in the Holy Land, Palestinians, Israelis, Muslims, Jews, Christians. We bless